have two purposes today. The first is to thank our neighbor and friend, Barry Herbold, who's joined by his family today, his children and their spouses, to say thank you for what Barry has done in moving the needle towards the full sign. If you think about it in terms of a gauge. Barry's generosity and his civic spirit I've known for a long time. And I am just thrilled that we can be here today to recognize what Barry has done, which is really a model of civic virtue in helping to build a better library and a bigger library, and to do it at the right time. As we are trying to bring a 2-year fundraising campaign to a successful conclusion this summer, so that in September we can break ground once again on a much larger edition than the one we did last summer.
And I also really want to thank Barry, because I feel like this campaign from the beginning has been about, we fundraised the entire amount for this building expansion with the thought that if the community really wanted this, they would support it and we would have a library. And here we are. And what better example of that is there than our next door neighbor supporting this campaign so heartily. It shows that we really have this buy-in from the community and that it's really seen as an important thing. And what a wonderful way to honor Jackie and all of her contributions to the world of literature and books. And we're really excited about what we can do in the children's room to reflect all the things that were important to Jackie, because she really wanted to see diversity in literature, and I mean, that's been something that I've wanted for our library also. So I think this is just a perfect marriage, and we're really grateful to Barry for this gift. The new building is going to encompass a whole lot of plans that we have made. I never do one thing at once, so we have a whole bunch of different things, but the main idea, I think, is that the library has become more and more a community center. It's not just a place for books anymore. Books are definitely part of what we do, but that's part of it. So having a general community meeting place where groups can use the space and have a place to gather, it's not like a church, it's not like a government building, it's a different thing. It's a community gathering space. So we're really excited about the meeting room and all the possibilities that gives us for programming. We also are going to have a larger collection space. The children's room is going to be about 3 to 4 times the size of our current children's room. And I think all of our volunteers are going to love it, because they will no longer have to belly crawl along the floor to get to most of our books, which are all down on the bottom there. It's always who drew the short straw that has to reshelve the children's books. So hopefully this is going to improve that situation dramatically. And we're going to get a teen room, which, for those of you who don't know, my teen librarian, Matt, who is full-time here, is phenomenal. And I'd be amazed if you don't know him. Everybody who comes in loves Matt. I feel like I need a name tag that says, my name is not Matt, but I can still help you. Because they all say, where's Matt? I need Matt to help me. So Matt has built this really wonderful teen group, and right now their books are all kind of jammed around the public computers, and it's not great for the computer users, and it's not great for the teens. And I really want a space that reflects the importance of that group to us. We just did a murder mystery dinner theater that was put on by the teens and supported by the friends, and they made $300 or $400 towards their own programming. And you'd be amazed at how picky they become about how that money is spent when they raised it themselves. They're a lot choosier than when it's us giving them money, so that's kind of nice. So the teen room is a real nice reflection of that growing kind of segment of our usership here at the library. It's also going to add the biggest and best improvement, 2 new public handicap accessible bathrooms that are not in my office. So yay for that. That's going to be fantastic. And as many of you know, if you haven't seen the reading room yet, you'll have a chance. But we did this last year, and it has been hugely successful. People love it. We got a $100 donation a week or 2 ago from somebody who said, I just love the reading room so darn much that I'm giving you this money. So it's a wonderful space, and it's a gift from the Tuttle family. And so we have these wonderful families that are part of our family that are stepping up and really helping us make this dream a reality. And we're just so appreciative of it. And I don't want to keep you all here forever. So if you ever have questions, or you want to talk about this or have some ideas, I'm here all the time. I would love to talk to your ear off about anything. So if you slow down by the poster, I probably will pop up and run out and try and tell you how excited we are about it. So I welcome any suggestions, comments, feedback from you, because this library is really by you and for you. So thank you all so much for coming today, and thank you, Barry, for your generous donation.
Yeah, Barry's relationship with this library goes back a long ways. Back 2 years ago, when we first decided we really need to get serious about fundraising, we needed a space for our fundraising operation to occur, and we have so little space left over here that Bruce Charbonneau and I went next door and said, Barry knocked on his door and said, do you have any space? At the time, Dyad wasn't up and running. And he said, sure. Here comes Bruce now, up the street. And he said, if you'd like to use my back room, that's fine. So one wintry day, we moved furniture and we got ourselves set up over in the back room of Barry's building. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Later on, he said to us, listen, I've got a bunch of parking spaces back there, and I know parking and access without having to cross the street is an issue. So why don't you have your staff use the spaces that we're not using next door? And the staff loves it. We don't have to navigate, the speeding cars here on Hudson Street. And, this is the kind of willingness to give, to share, and make life nicer and more safer. And he's just been a wonderful neighbor. What else can we say? He's a wonderful neighbor. And that leads into how we got to this moment. One day I was looking at the drawings, and this is literally 2 days old, so I haven't even seen this until about 15 minutes ago. But we knew the basic layout of our addition. And I was looking at Barry's offices over there, and I said, oh my gosh. The first thing Barry sees when he looks out his window is the children's room of this building that isn't built yet. And so it was, I had gotten to know Jackie. Wendy and I had met her several years ago when she was here, and health-wise, she was doing okay. And we were so impressed. We're both educators, and we know a real educator when we met Jackie. And we're strong believers in diversity, professionally and by our own values. And when we read about her story of being the daughter of a Middletown high school, and I knew Middletown High School because I grew up one county away, and I remember the travails of her father as a school administrator in Orange County back 40 or 50 years ago, and what a pioneering family that was. So it was not surprising to me when I learned through Barry and through interaction with Jackie how her career had flourished. When she asked her father as a young woman, Dad, when I pick up books in the library, there aren't any children that look like me. Powerful stuff. From that kind of conviction and that kind of talent, her career in publishing, in editing, in writing, in lecturing, in mentoring, in fundraising, in advocating for the cause of children's literature and diversity for children of color is a remarkable story. I think it's very interesting that 1 week ago, many of us I see here today were over in Rothermel Park paying homage to those folks who were interred there, people of color, who were laid to rest, sort of colorblind, 100 years ago. And today we're talking about someone who recognized the lack of color and recognition in literature. And she corrected it. She actually corrected it. And education, believe it or not, and having been an educator, education is a very conservative institution. And And when teachers are asked to change curriculum, many of them are put off. Or when libraries are making decisions about which books to buy or whether to buy Scholastic magazine, they make choices. And I'm sure there was a reason why there were no children of color in those stories back then. But she dedicated her life to correcting that injustice. And that took courage, that took love, that took just tenacity. So she was a remarkable, remarkable person and a beautiful woman, and we all mourn her loss, Barry. So, connecting the dots. I looked out at Barry's window, and I looked at the space back there, and I said, a few months ago I said to Wendy, we have naming opportunities in our prospectus for the library. I said, I can't think of anyone who would value a connection to the library in her name than Barry. And so I reached out to Barry sometime in February. I called him and I said, Barry, I'm not being intrusive, but I think there's an opportunity here to both help the library and honor your late wife. There's a void in your life, I know. And I know how I think we can help fill that void. No one could ever possibly replace Jackie. But the recognition of her life and her legacy will forever be with us. And Barry called me back and he said, yup. The price was not cheap. It's $150,000 to name the children's library. But Barry stepped up and said, I will do that. For that, just a wonderful gesture by a terrific guy, and those of you who've lived in Kinderhook know that it's not surprising. He was so willing to step up and assume that responsibility. And so today we want to honor Jackie, honor her family who are all here today. And I'm going to stop talking and ask Barry to come up and say a few words.
If there are any accolades due today, it's not me, it's really Gary Spielman and the trustees and the campaign committee who have succeeded in raising I think a phenomenal amount of money, and you're going to see that in a few moments. As Gary mentioned, he called me back this winter and made this proposal to me, and I said, yeah, it's a wonderful idea. And when he told me what the contribution was, I gulped. And then I called my accountant and I called my financial planners and I said, let's figure out a way to do this. So we put our heads together and we came up with something, and that's when I called Gary back and said, we're going to go ahead with this. And it's a way of, I think as Gary said, this donation is a way of turning my grieving into hopefully what's an inspiration for other people to give and make gifts to the library and get us to our goal. Jackie bought a second, actually not a second home, she bought a weekend home in Kinderhook about 15 years ago, right around the corner on Maiden Lane. And she loved Kinderhook. Her goal was to live here permanently, and we just were never able to reach that goal. We knew each other socially for several years, and then a mutual friend suggested that we get together, and we did. So we were married in 2012. So we were married just for a short time, a little over 4 years. Jackie's mantra in publishing was she wanted to publish books that kids liked to read and wanted to read, rather than books that they had to read or were forced to read. One of the last series, as an example, one of the last series that she published at Scholastic was the Mythlopedia series to introduce middle school age kids to Greek mythology. And she did it in a very humorous way. The Greek gods all had a Facebook page. And you could see that it was a book that a kid would want to pick up and read and learn. And I haven't, and I think some of those are going to be in the collection. And I haven't told this to you guys yet, but I'm going to contact Jackie's former vice president of Scholastic. And I'm going to bend their elbow a little bit and get them to donate a bunch of books.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so we can have a full collection, if you will. Finally, a lot of people think a library is a book repository, kind of a dull place. You go in and you have to pay fines if you don't bring your books back. But I think everybody here certainly knows that's not true. And I wanted to read a quote from Ann Patchett. This was a photographic essay, the Public Library, a photographic essay. And she said about the library, know this, if you love your library, use your library. Support libraries in your words and deeds. If you are fortunate enough to be able to buy your books, and you have your own computer from which to conduct research, and you're not in search of a story hour for your children, then don't forget about the members of your community who like you, but perhaps lack your resources. The ones who love to read, who long to learn, who need a place to go and sit and think. Make sure that in your good fortune, you remember to support their quest for a better life. That is what a library promises us, after all, a better life. And that's what libraries have delivered, including the Kinderhook Memorial Library. So, thank you.
Wonderful.